If you've ever been on the receiving end of a lawsuit for your small business, you're probably often wondering, besides what on earth went wrong, but why am I personally named in this lawsuit? I thought I had limited liability protection. Isn't that the reason I set up an LLC? And so you'll come across this legal concept called piercing the corporate veil. And this is where the owners of the business are personally liable or held personally responsible for the debts and the obligations of that business. And so, unfortunately, having an LLC or a corporation doesn't mean that you'll never be sued if something goes wrong in your business. Having an LLC or a corporation is not some magic trick for protecting all of your personal assets from your creditors. It simply doesn't work that way. So, this idea of piercing the corporate veil is often used against small businesses, especially small businesses, because the assumption is that as an owner of the small business, you've taken or you're going to take all of the money out of the business for yourself. You're using it to hide assets. You're trying to keep funds away from creditors or from disgruntled customers or vendors or even in some cases business partners who might be considering a lawsuit. And so when those types of claims come up, and those people, get to the point where they end up filing a lawsuit in court, they often believe or they assume that if they just sue the business, you'll take all the money and run, or you'll just shut down the business to avoid liability, and so there won't be anything there. So instead of just suing the business, they'll try to sue both the business and the individual owner or owners. And they use this concept called veil piercing in order to do that. And before you start thinking, well, okay, I'll solve this problem, I'll just create multiple levels of businesses so that they can't get to me, this concept also applies in those situations. So if you create a bunch of subsidiary business entities, in the right circumstances, the court can still pierce through those entities to get to the individual owners, particularly if there's a suspicion that the ultimate parent company is attempting to, avoid liability or commit some type of a fraud.